All right. Actually, let me make sure that I think I uploaded the vaccine key for the Instagram. Did you do that, Amber? No.
StreamYard? I did. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. Thanks. All right. Okay, so we're live.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is like we're all from the South, which is not always typical.
Not always the case.
At all.
But anybody have any good plans this weekend? Because is it Easter this weekend?
Yeah,
It's Easter weekend. Yeah.
Good Friday and Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Food. That's our plan for Sunday.
Yeah.
Food. Church and food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Food.
Well, I was raised Catholic, so we know on Friday you weren't supposed to. It's Lent, right? So they really have a limited diet there.
Yeah. Definitely. There was a big thing. The big thing right now is: are you going to buy eggs to hunt them because they're so expensive? So people are painting potatoes for their children.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you could do the plastic ones and just hide things inside, right?
Yeah, that's what we do. The plastic ones and keep them from year to year. Yeah. For the littles.
Do you have little children still?
Mine are older. I have two. Okay. I have one about to graduate high school, one in college, but nieces and nephews that are younger.
Okay. Very fun. Well, I'll go ahead and get us started. So happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the Dog Gurus Live podcast. Thank you for listening and watching. I'm Shantae Marquez, joined with Amber Burkhalter. We are both Profit Network coaches at the Dog Gurus. So if you're listening live, write in the chat hello. We love to hear your interactions and comments, and it just helps keep the conversation going. So the Dog Gurus provides expert business guidance and has helped hundreds of pet care facilities thrive because we use comprehensive resources with proven strategies built by pet care business owners. Yeah, that's right. All of our coaches have walked in your shoes. We've owned and operated our own facilities or are still currently running them. The Dog Gurus provides coaching at every level of your business journey, offering tools to meet your business goals while learning from our experiences. So let's move on to our topic today. Have you ever had to turn away a client because their vaccine records weren't current, or spent unnecessary time chasing down the records from the vet's office? Well, this episode is for you, and I certainly had plenty of that at my facility.
The big dreaded part of the holidays was, do we have vaccine records?
Yes.
And that's always a sticky conversation. We'll get into that. But today we are joined with Casey Schaefer from VetVerifi. This company is amazing, and I'm so happy to have them on because they are transforming how pet care facilities handle vaccine verification through their concierge approach through record management. So Casey, welcome.
Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, great. So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about the origins of VetVerifi?
Yeah. Let me tell my story a little bit, how I connected to VetVerifi, and then would love to get into the story of Dave and Tim and Chris and the co-founding team. I was, prior to VetVerifi, not sure everybody know this, I worked for Ginger. I led the team at Ginger for almost 2 years. And I'm not like one of your coaches. I don't come from the industry. I come from software and sort of a financial background. But as I was getting to know this industry, one of the very first place I visited was here in San Antonio, not far up the road from me. And I went and visited this facility, big, multi-million-dollar a year facility, lots and lots of dogs every day. I was out there for about an hour and a half, and for 45 minutes, we talked about vaccines and how their staff calls people and pet parents have to carry paper in their glove box and pictures on their phones, and people are emailing and faxing and phone calling each other constantly. The vets hate it. Our resort friends hate it. Like, we talked for 45 minutes of this hour and a half strictly about vaccines. So that just sort of clicked in my head of like, wow, this is a thing. Like at Ginger, we need to figure this out, or across all the softwares, we need to figure this out. And a few months after that, I met Dave and Tim, who were two of the three founders at VetVerifi, and they started to explain to me what they were building and what it does. And and it clicked. This is huge for this industry. This is absolutely something that is needed. And in a nutshell, they're connecting the softwares that run all of our pet services businesses with the softwares that run the vet businesses, and getting humans out of it, right? It's 2025 and we're going to get humans out of this process. And so, in a nutshell, that's what it was. And it clicked with me, and I was working with them in my time there. And then when I left and was looking for my next opportunity, that's where I would love to go work with these guys and go help build VetVerifi. So that's kind of the story behind it.
Yeah,
and Tim and Dave and Chris, all of them come from doing this same thing in other parts of the economy, right? They worked for a healthcare company that connected. When you go get a procedure done, your insurance company and the hospital, they want to make sure your doctor's licensed to do what you're doing. That's not done by humans in paper and pictures on phones. It's done in an automated way in the background. When you are applying for a car loan on a Sunday, the dealer, the bank needs to verify your employment. They do that in an automated way in the background, right? And so these guys have done this team has done this before. And so we're building this exact pipeline in the background for pet care businesses to work in the same way. So these vaccine verifications that we all know and love, they happen without you knowing it. They just happen in the background the way they should, and get the humans out of it, I think, is ultimately the story we want to tell and where we want to get to.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a really good system set up, but it wasn't 100% at my facility. I mean, it still had to take, if there was a huge rush and, phones are ringing and we're taking reservations, the front desk people were supposed to call the veterinarians to get those vaccine records, but sometimes that didn't always happen. And the last thing that you want to do is have a sticky conversation when somebody's trying to drop off their pet and go head out to the airport. I mean, you definitely want to avoid that.
Yeah. This honeymoon you've been planning for a year and a half to go to Cancun for a week. You can't go because Fluffy is missing Bordetella or
canine influenza vaccine.
Exactly. And worse, you didn't know, right? These pet parents don't know your policies. They don't have them memorized. And so they think they have all the things, and they're carrying those pieces of paper in their glove box.
Yeah.
And when they come in, we needed this 5th piece of paper. Right. Like, and you're, like you said, your staff is calling in it. One of the things we've also figured out is you have these relationships with your pet parents. You have these relationships with the vets in your community. Those relationships are made rockier, more rough is the way I like to argue.
No pun intended.
They're made rougher by these phone calls. You're 70% of the time you're calling vets, you're calling because you need something. I have to have this. Please send it to me now, because you don't want to lose revenue. You don't want to lose a reservation, right? Let's get rid of that sort of rocky part of those relationships and smooth that over. We think that's a big advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like the other thing that happens is maybe they make these reservations at your facility like 3 months or 2 months. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll get that vaccine taken care of. And then it doesn't happen, so there should be things in place to kind of keep track of that. And you guys have taken all that legwork off of the facilities, and you guys are doing that for them. And you told me when we talked and a couple of, last year sometime we talked and you told me what you were doing. I was like, what? I was like, that's amazing. I wish you guys were around when I had my facility, because it would surely help. And I think it would save a lot of money, because there wouldn't be that extra tax for the staff to manage. Too.
Right. We think it varies by facility, right? There's all kinds of, every facility is a little bit different. It's somewhere between an hour a day to a full-time FTE every month, right? It just depends on the staff and the day and the month. February's great. The staff's doing it in their spare time. No big deal. Let's approach July 4th. Or Christmas, right? It varies. And so, at where we're sitting price wise, we think it's a 3 to 4 kind of ROI, what the labor and costs we can remove, not to mention the saved revenue, versus what we're costing. It's a 3 to 4 ROI kind of situation from what we see.
Can you dig in a little bit of how that works? Because I know one of the things that I would run into in California is we would try to call to get the vaccines updated, but the veterinarians, they would not allow us to have the vaccine records because they'd be like HIPAA. But even though
I was about to
doesn't
say,
apply to,
doesn't apply to dogs, but okay.
no, it doesn't apply to pets, but what can you do? They're like stonewalling us, right? And then we have to call the owner. So how does it all work, and how do you guys get around that?
Yeah, great question. So you mentioned timing earlier. So we lock into your operating system, whichever one of the softwares you're running, and we're gonna monitor your calendar 30 days in advance. So every day we're gonna look at the next 30 days of reservations, and we're gonna apply logic and know, according to your policies, which one of those have an issue, which one of those are at risk. They're missing something, or something's going to expire between now and then. And then that's usually somewhere around, in any given reservation calendar on any given day, it's somewhere around 20% of that next 30 days has an issue. So we're going to go run those issues down. We're going to go run down those missing things. When we have the veterinarians connected into our network, and by the end of this year, we'll have somewhere around 10,000 vets in our network nationwide. There's about 35,000. So that gives us, it's not everybody, and we're going to consistently build that network. That's a big part of what we're doing. But we'll have about a third of the vets in the country by the end of the year. When they're connected to our network, we just go get the data. Like there's no humans involved. We take that pet, and there's logic we use to match it in the vet data system, pull those dates over, and we're good to go, right? When we don't have that vet connected, we have a way we reach out generally by email, and we use we're reaching out on your behalf. We have the pet's parent's name and all the information. Vets are very receptive to what we're doing. One of the things we figured out is, a vet in your community, they're getting many of these calls from you and all of your peers, not to mention the apartment buildings and, everyone else that needs a vet record. What we like to say at VetVerifi is we want to take the vet record, the vaccine record, and get it where it needs to go. There's a ton of places those records, you guys are a super big piece of it, but pet parents take their dogs many places, and those places all need vaccine records, right? So our job is to get it where it needs to go. Today, those vets are getting hundreds of calls from hundreds of people. So it feels very fragmented to them. Once we start signing up resorts in a community, and we're working in the housing vertical and things like that too, now they're getting 100 emails from us every week. And it sort of concentrates that thing. And we can go to that vet and go, do you want that 100 emails to stop?
Yeah.
Sign up for the network, and we'll just do this with no people. And that momentum is sort of what we're growing. We're also talking to, in the same way that we're talking to the tools, the software tools on the services side of the business, we're talking to the software tools on the vet side of the business. And a big, we're working with a software right now that has 8,000 vets that use them. So we're going to lock into that software. That'll add 8,000 vets instantly to the network. And so to answer your question, Shantae, most of the time we're trying as hard as we can to just go get the data. Don't involve the people. When we do have to talk to the people, I love the HIPAA for pets, but HIPAA does, let's be clear, HIPAA does not apply to pets.
No, it drove me crazy. It drove me crazy. It made me so mad.
Yeah, but there is I get it. There's a concern about privacy. And we want data privacy, and we are as hardcore about data stewardship as anybody else. In the data world, if you have permissible purpose and reason to go knock on the door of a vet, proverbially, and say, I've been authorized by the pet parent and the resort to get this data, I don't see us getting into a legal spat with a vet, but they have to give us that data. When the pet parent signs their agreement with you, you're allowed to board my dog, and the agreement you sign with them most typically say you're allowed to talk to my vet.
Yeah.
Because if something happens, they want you to talk to their vet,
exactly.
right? And so the vet doesn't want to always acknowledge that, but you are authorized to get that record from the vet. And so long story short, because vets are hearing from this community, we're the way we reach out to them, the way we talk to them, we get good responses, and very rarely do they tell us absolutely no. And again, if we can do it just through data, it solves that problem way easier than having to go through humans.
Yeah, that's so cool. The other thing that I was thinking, so I shouldn't worry if I was still owned my facility. I shouldn't worry that because the vets in my area, aren't necessarily signed up with VetVerifi. That's not an issue then, non-issue, because you're going to already go out and call them and get it for them if they're not in your network, regardless if they sign up to be in the network or not.
Yeah, we're going to reach out by email and get those records very often. And again, this is a network situation, chicken and the egg. So a bunch of vets aren't going to sign up in a city where we don't have resorts. And so we want to get the resorts signed up first, the services facilities, and then the vets will come. And that's kind of how we're working the network both ways.
What if I have a bunch of clients that doesn't necessarily, like, we accept tighter results, or maybe they have medical exemptions? So, you guys would still be able to get those records. It works all the same. This shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to follow your policies. We require, for this type of stay, we require these things. And we're going to reach out, and get those things from the vets. And you've got a puppy that doesn't need rabies until they get to that certain age. And so we'll be able to put that in our logic as well. Okay, this is a puppy, and until whatever that 9th month is, or whatever that date is, we're not going to be able to get that until then. And we're going to build that into our logic as well.
Cool. I mean, I definitely think this is something that the facility owners can be marketing as a benefit to their customers, that they provide this concierge service. I mean, not everybody does that. A lot of places will make the pet parent go out and do all that legwork. I mean, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I've said this to you before, Shante. Like, we think of it as a triangle: the pet parent, the services facility, and the vet. And you guys are in this relationships with each other, right? We think we sit in the middle and we help to solve this problem for everybody. The pet parents carrying paper in their glove box or pictures on their phone, and they're calling their vet saying, "Why haven't you sent this over?" So we think we can solve that problem for everybody, and just make it easier for them. And we believe we can do a better job of verifying the quality of this data, frankly, than you and your staff can. We're trained on how to do it. We're professionals in reading vet records. We have DVMs and vet techs on staff that are not, we don't just get the record, we read the record to make sure it fits with your facility. So again, not to disparage anybody, but typically this is a front desk staff that's often your most entry-level person. Their job is to answer the phones and book things, right? Their job isn't to read vet records, which are sometimes crazy and handwritten and all that, right? So what we think you can tell pet parents is you've upped your game in vaccine compliance. You've made your facility safer, because every dog that comes in is meeting these protocols that you've set. There aren't exceptions. There aren't things that are missed, because we have professionals reading them. We think that's a key too. It's not just we take the work off your hands, but we think we do it in a better way.
So I don't know if people know this, but Amber comes from working in the veterinarian field. Amber, what do you think about all this? Did they have something like this when you were working in that?
Oh my gosh. So let's see. I've worked as a receptionist, kennel tech, surgery tech, vet tech, all the tech, everything but a vet.
Yeah.
And then I had my own facility and my own business for 20 years. And so I've been on both sides. And it is it's very difficult to navigate. And I understand it from the vet perspective, because it takes time from your staff that you're really not getting any return on, right? You're really carrying the load for someone else's business right there. And that's really challenging. And I can remember checking our voicemail when we would get close to holidays before I owned my facility, and there would be message after message after message. And we had 3 full-time receptionists. I worked for a very big practice, a very successful practice here in Atlanta. And it was insane. And I remember the other side where 2 weeks out from a holiday, I would say, because we use Ginger, I would say, give me a vaccine report. Not up to, and it was like, this thick. We would have to pay someone a full-time wage for probably 3 or 4 days to sit in the back office and make phone calls. So, I mean, for both sides of it, this is nothing but a win. And I also, 2 things, I see it as a concierge service, right? Like, we're going to take this away from you because it is a problem for us. And I really like that you have DVMs and vet techs that are reading these also. It's not just like, oh, well, we have this piece of paper, because often the piece of paper isn't enough, right?
And we're using those DVMs and vet techs to teach machine learning and AI to read it, right? It's another way to say this is an AI agent that installs on your Ginger, installs on your software. And so, we're hoping we can put the best of both worlds, that sort of tech piece with it.
I'm curious if you have data on how much time it's saving companies.
So what the math, and we're new, right? We've been commercial for about 1.5 years. What we're seeing is, like I said, somewhere between an hour a day and exactly what you said, a full-time FTE. It's somewhere in that range, depending on the day and the month and the facility. But it's somewhere in that range. And so, based on where you live and what your labor cost is, do the math. It's 30 to, what is that, 160 hours a month.
That's a no-brainer as an owner. That's a no-brainer. And frankly, as an owner of a vet practice, not that I have, but I would also be like, yes, please take this off my staff.
And that's interesting. What's interesting, you said a minute ago about the one business driving another. And I love how Tim and Dave put this, is really, it's Tim, lives outside of St. Louis, kind of in rural Missouri. I love how he puts this. Our dogs aren't out playing with raccoons. Our dogs live on our couches, right? And so the only outside of rabies, which is for a lot of reasons, legislated and things like that. Outside of rabies, many dogs would never get vaccinated if they weren't going to your facilities. You are driving activity, revenue, business to the vets. Dogs would not be getting these vaccines if it weren't for you and your requirements and protocols and safety. You are driving revenue to the vet. And that's one of the things we think we can take back to them is, one, I can stop the phone from ringing. I can stop your voicemail from filling up. But I can also, people don't get their dog. It's like getting your car inspected. I don't get my car inspected because the inspection expired. I get my car inspected because I have to go get it registered with the state and prove that it was inspected. I don't get my dog Bordetella because the Bordetella expired. I get my dog Bordetella because I'm going to Cancun and I have to prove to you that I got Bordetella, right? So we can give to the vets an appointment that is ripe, that is ready to be done. I can give them revenue. And if Mr. Vet that I always go to is booked, I can send them up the street if I need to, right? Like that's the benefit we can give to the vet community is I can give you business that's ready to book right now. You don't have to market to anybody. You don't have to send reminders. They'll come when they have a booking appointment at the services facility because they're going to Cancun. So like that, we think that's the two-way street. The phone ringing is great and we can stop that, but I can give you revenue. I can give you appointments and bookings that you might not otherwise get, right? If this pet parent waits, we send a notice 30 days. You talked about timing, Shantae. We send a notice 30 days before the appointment to the pet parent.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, you have an appointment coming up in 30 days. You have these 4 things. You're missing this 5th thing. we give them a head start to go make that appointment.
Yeah.
We could send that same communication to their vet to say, did you know that Sally Smith and Fluffy need an appointment for Bordetella in the next week and a half? They can come to your vet practice, or they can go to Tractor Supply on Saturday morning, right? Like, we think there's a lot of room here to let these and we also think it lets the vets know where their business is coming from. There's this unspoken sort of relationship between vets and services, and one side kind of looks down on the other. We think this can help balance that out and let them see the business that's being driven to them by the other side of the industry.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what would be next steps? Like, how does someone get started with utilizing this? Do they have to have the software?
We are integrated with Ginger. We are integrated with Goose, and we are heavily in conversations with the others. And we'll be there fairly soon. And if so, the best thing I would do is, no matter who your software is, I would go to VetVerifi.com, and I can post a link in the chat. Go to VetVerifi.com, book a demo. And it'll be with me. It'll be with me or Dave or Tim. We are still a startup. We're still small. And we would do it. We'll glad to do a demo and walk through it with you. The great thing about VetVerifi is we're not giving you a new tool. This is not a new piece of software that your team has to go learn. It's a pipeline that sits in the background. We connect Ginger to the rest, or keep saying that. We connect your software to the rest of the world, and it happens in the background. That stays your source of truth. That's where your team operates out of. We're not giving you a new tool. So we'll do a demo. We'll walk through it, explain to you how it works. If you're good to go, we'll get you signed up and move forward with implementation, where we do most of that work. And we're actively looking to grow. And would love to get anybody on board. But the key is go to VetVerifi.com, book a demo, and we can get you rolling.
Awesome. I mean, it's real seamless. It's basically you guys do everything for them. That's huge. It's really a huge benefit.
So. I love the concierge service line. I think that's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I think of it.
I think it is. I mean, you're barreling towards summer. I mean, if you're running a membership, for example, this could be part of your membership. I mean, there are so many ways that you could plug this in.
Yeah. And we think there's so much potential for this. Is there a world where pet parents have a VetVerifi app, and it's all there for wherever they go? They go to the dog park, they show it to the dog park and walk in and have a couple beers, and their dogs hang out with their buddies, right? I think there's so many different, like I said, we're talking to the housing community. When you go to rent an apartment, the apartment's got to verify what vaccines you have. The apartment's got to verify that you have pets or don't, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're working with those folks to be a part of their life as well. Again, let's get the vet records out of this trapped place where they are in the vet offices, and let's get those vet records where they need to go and not have humans have to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Awesome. I love it. I think this is fantastic. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to put the chat in for people, or put the website address for people in the chat right now.
There you go.
So in case you want to check them out, please do. It's right there. So Casey, amazing. Thank you so much. Great to see you again. And I'll wrap things up. So appreciate everybody joining us and listening today. And the other thing I want to do is just invite you to join our Facebook group, Grow Your Pet Care Business. So if I will put that link in the chat as well. And it's a great place to just have a networking opportunity with other pet care business owners who are like-minded. And we just have 2 rules for the group. And that is, number 1, be nice, be kind, always be positive. So we don't like any negative chatter in there. And 2, no selling. So thank you so much. And everybody have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.